Oops. Oops. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Against the Fence. This is the place to be if you're obsessed and passionate about the UFC, and this is your UFC 282 Aftermath show. We've got an epic show for you tonight. There's lots and lots to talk about. We're going to be talking about Dana White's meltdown. We're going to be talking about the scoring between Paddy Pimblett and Jared Gordon. Getting your thoughts in as well. I'm going to be giving you my opinions based on giving it a second watch. Some people might say it was rigged. Let us know in the chats if you think it's rigged. It's going to be interesting to get your thoughts and opinions on it as well. We're probably going to touch upon Darren Till as well and his struggle at middleweight. And then we'll talk about the rankings, even though the rankings haven't actually updated on the website. But if they've updated for you, let me know, because over here in the UK they've not updated, but there's gonna be much more to come, so do stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. All right, bringing it back in then, and we've got a chat already from Shango V, who says, "Hi, mate. Sorry I missed you guys on Saturday. It was a long day." Oh, no worries, brother. I think I was speaking to Ash. He said, you had a long day and everything, but and you'd spoken to him. But no worries, bud. Good to see you as always. Good to have you here, and it's gonna be good to get your opinions on the event. Did you manage to catch all of it? How far did you get? Let me know. First of all, we'll touch upon some of the. We should probably talk about a couple of the prelims. Shout out to, of course, Raul Rosa Jr. picking up that submission win. The 18-year-old. He's off to a flying start now. He wants, bigger and better competition, short amount of time, and he wants to become the youngest UFC champion on record. So, a lot of aspirations for that kid. Shout out, of course, boy Chris Curtis, Illuminati on the channel. He defeated Joaquin Buckley in round 2 via knockout. That was pretty impressive display. Good to see Edmund Shabazian back on the win column as well. Jairzinho Rosenstruck, TKO, and Chris Curtis got that one picked down to a T as well. It's kind of sad, isn't it, see Chris Daukaus go down on this fall when last year he had a phenomenal year. But great night of fights, of course, all together. There's a lot to go through, as I said, in just a sec. But let's recap some of the events. Let's talk about what's next then for the guys in the main card. Maybe some people in the prelims might also get mentioned in there as well. Let's kick it off, shall we, by heading into this scene here. And, of course, the first fight of the main card, Ilia Topuria, picking up that submission, that arm triangle choke victory against Bryce Mitchell in the second round. Now, who would have predicted this? Because I personally had round 2 TKO on my books. I don't know if anyone else put submission. Did you guys put submission? But look, it's surprising. Big statement from Ilia Topuria. Shango V says, "I caught up on the main card. Odd event throughout. Be good to hear some opinions on it from you and a chat." Yes, Shango V, because this is the place to be, of course, to express these opinions. And it was great card up until really the co-main, and main ruined it, which is very strange. Taylor Young's in the house. Yes, Taylor. Welcome in. Yes, I've done the finger snap. Yes, I'm 13 years old. He says, Raul is a talented kid. He needs to calm down a bit to take his time through the division, in my opinion. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think he's kind of almost jumping on those kind of Paddy Pimblett vibes a little bit. Because he's getting a bit of notoriety, and the fact he's 18 years old. And, I guess it's similar with Muhammad Magomed as well. Seems to just be flawless. I think he needs building up proper. The UFC have learned their lesson with Sage Northcutt in the past. Let's get back to Ilia Topuria. As I said, flawless performance from him. He showed it. He's ready for top competition now, without a doubt. Especially when you submit a submission guy like Bryce Mitchell. And, it wasn't just one fight to go against Edson Barbosa, which we were thinking, hang on, Bryce could be a real problem here at featherweight. Okay, yes, he was he defeated Edson Barbosa, who's way past his prime, getting a little bit older and things like that. But, it was the fact that he was able to control him on the ground, similar to what like a Khabib was able to do to him back in the day or whatever. But my overall takeaway from Ilia Topuria's performance is just that he's difficult to take down and he's difficult to deal with. Bryce did take him down, but it was only once out of the 9 attempts that he had. And it just makes you think, like, what holes are there in this guy's game? He comes forward, he throws with reckless abandon. He's a little bit on the short side, but for me, it's these shorter guys at featherweight that I think we need to watch out for. Volk obviously is a shorter guy himself. Nathaniel Wood seems to be on the rise. Shout out to Nathaniel Wood, of course, he's been on the channel before. You gotta love these faster guys at featherweight. You really do, mate. I cannot wait for Ilia Topuria but do more damage next year. I think that was his second fight. Was it this second fight this year? Yeah, it was. Obviously, Jai Herbert was back in March. Would have liked to have seen more of him, but I guess, he only had one fight in 2021, two fights in 2020. So, he's kind of a 2-fight-a-year kind of guy. Let's talk about what's next for him. Okay, there's a few opinions happening. Here's a problem, says Ash. Damien, yes, Damo in the house. Good to see you as always. Thanks for chiming in at the weekend as well. He says, I know it's early, but imagine Ilia versus Volk. Mate, don't. I'm getting so excited just thinking about it myself. That fight is giving me goosebumps as we speak. But, there's a big but that comes with it. We're almost assuming that Makhachev's going to beat Volk. Okay, that's that. When we think about those two together, we're already thinking of that option. Because in my opinion, if Volk beats Islam, and that's a big, big if, I don't see it happening, but who knows in MMA. If that happens, Volk, I think, will stay at lightweight. He will move up, he'll vacate the featherweight belt, and then I think we'll have a scrap between. It could be whoever. It could be Ilia Topuria versus Arnold Allen. Just putting two names out there, of course, that are up and coming in the rankings. But those two could very well fight for that vacant belt. But who knows? I think Islam will win, and I kind of want him to win purely because I think Volk's got some more competition coming, Ilia Topuria, Arnold Allen, I hope those two don't get paired up, but those two are definitely two that he needs to be looking out for. That Topuria fight is absolute juicy. Spot on, Damo. Shangavi says he is slippery at defense, well-rounded and unpredictable. One to keep watching for sure. I think he's going to be on everyone's list in terms of ones to watch for next year because he could very well get a title fight. Health permitted, of course. Italian says, Ilia looks good. Had a few things like how much he was loading up on his shots. That could be worked on, but that's if you're really nitpicking. Yeah, I guess we got a nitpick, haven't we? Because in a way, it makes everything exciting, doesn't it? It's giving these caveats, these kind of like, what ifs, and, there's no harm in it. But he said, I was very impressed that he subbed Bryce. He also said, I think Volk is better than Islam, but it's really hard to see him get past the physicality of Islam. Yep, spot on, absolutely. Yes, JK says, Kadjo. Yes, Kadjo, you're not on the juice tonight, are you? You're not on the alcohol, because whenever it's a midweek show, you seem to be drinking and slating us boys at the ATF. So, yeah. But, good to see you chime in the weekend as well. Let us know your thoughts on the fights. Yeah, back to the Islam, I guess a mini breakdown for Topuria versus Volk. When we're looking at it at the moment, Volk, I think, is going to be, I don't know, who's quicker? I think probably Volk's a lot quicker on the feet, but maybe Ilia throws a lot quicker. Throws a lot faster, maybe. That's what I'm reckoning. Damon says, if Volk beats Islam, he should quit. Basically completed the UFC. No one's going to touch the little man. Spot on. Maybe. Like, why not? Why would you not go advance forward after that? Like, why would you? It's a good point, because duck out while you can. It depends on obviously money and things like that. Khabib ducked at a good time, because it just led to all these kind of what ifs. What if he fought this guy? What if he fought this guy? If Volk retires on top, I think it's the best way to do it. Absolutely spot on as well from Damo. Prince of Mischief 225. Welcome in, buddy. Welcome to the channel. Welcome. Is this your first time tonight? You know, this is a UFC fan channel. Fan opinions matter most. We do watch-alongs. We do everything. Hit that subscribe button if you've not done so already. He said, just join. What are we talking about? Mate, we're talking about everything UFC 282. There's a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about, of course, the Dana White just going off on one during the post-fight press conference. We're going to be talking about the Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon fight and how we kind of score in it. Second watch out. We're going to talk about a little bit Darren Till. If you even get your questions in as well, guys, you know, feel free to ask me a couple of questions on what my opinions are on some things. Because look, I haven't got it in my notes, but there is the whole Ariel versus Paddy scenario, which is going on as well. That just adds to everything. Maybe you can get my opinions on that a little bit later on down the road. So yeah, do stick in for that. Kajo says, no boost today. The chat is safe. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Damien says, if he beats Islam, call out Khabib, then the rest will play out. Yeah, I guess so, but I don't think anything's getting Khabib out of retirement, really. But, you know, okay, so that's jumping the gun a little bit in terms of Ilia. Let's talk about what's realistically going to be next for him, because he called out Brian Ortega, who is currently on a 2-fight losing streak. You know, he's having a tough fight at the moment. Okay, top of the spear kind of guys, Volk, and he had that injury against Yair. Let's face it, I think that if that fight goes on, it would have been pretty dicey. But, you know, in that fight, for Ilia, he'd be guaranteed a title fight if he beats Brian Ortega. Why wouldn't you be? You know, where's Brian Ortega in the rankings? I mean, we'll go into the rankings. They're not updated, of course. This is because, you know, I don't know why they're not updated. The person who deals with it probably is on holiday or something. Christmas leave, something like that. But this is the rankings, what it was before. You know, obviously, Ilia's going to be well up there now at number 9. So it'd be a big jump to Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega's in at number 3. So if you beat him, you're pretty much there. You got Rodriguez versus Rodriguez versus Emmett. That's going to be playing out for the interim belt. Winner of that's probably going to get Volk. So that puts you back to a title fight towards the back end of 2023, perhaps. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. Who wins out of Brian Ortega versus Ilia Topuria? Of course, Ilia Topuria is on form at the moment. You know, maybe Brian Ortega's long and he's big. His physicality could be an issue, maybe. I don't know. It's almost hard to. It would be nice to see Ortega get back into the win column. Be a horrible fight against Ilia, in my opinion. Horrible fight. Smash a like on the video, guys. Though, if you've if you enjoyed that performance from Ilia Topuria and you think perhaps he might get a title fight down the line. Damo says, on the feet, I think Ilia and Volk are quite even. I reckon Volk had the wrestling. Yeah, maybe. But imagine the stand-up, man. MMA port. 100%. Mate, I'm literally so pumped for this prospect of the fight. And it saddens me because, in a way, I'd be more pumped for that in the Arnold Allen versus Volk fight, which is kind of gutting because I obviously really want to see Arnold Allen get the crack because he deserves it. He deserves it more than Ilia. He's been grafting in the UFC way longer than Ilia has. But look, Ilia's been finishing guys, man. He's been knocking people dead. He's been submitting people. All sorts, man. Yes, everyone says James MMA. Yes, Jay, welcome into the channel. He also says Ortega subs him. Wow, look, that would be spectacular if he does sub him. Do you think Brian Ortega would deserve another crack at the belt if he beats someone like Ilia? I guess in terms of like level competition where people are at the rankings, you'd probably say no, right? Because if Topuria would be down at number 9 there, you know, or difficult. Him says if Khabib don't come out to fight Volk, then Volk can say he's ducking for sure. Shangavi said, call out at a guy on a losing streak. I know, but it's well planned to climb up the ranks and get exposure. Yeah, you know, got a question where, of course, Ortega's out at the moment. If it's not going to be Ortega would deserve to fight someone like an Arnold Allen. But then, you know, a lot of people want Arnold Allen to fight Max Holloway in London. So, you know, I guess there's a lot to play out in this featherweight division. Me and Ash were talking at the weekend and reckon this division was pretty much dead. But I guess if you put it all together, maybe it's not so much. There was a lot of fights to play out. But I think Chen Sun Jung versus Brian Ortega would probably make a lot more sense. And South Korea, so that fight could make sense. You know, who knows? Prince of Mischief 225 says Ortega is a punching bag. Ilia would probably make a statement finishing him, and that'll be his ticket to a title fight. Thoughts? Yeah, man. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head for sure, because Ortega obviously struggled against Max's hands. You know, he got pieced up against Max. Ilia Topuria, a lot more power than Max. And yeah, that's it. That is your golden ticket. Fighting someone, a former challenger in Ortega. Taylor Young reckons Ilia beats Ortega. He also says, so much fun matchups for Ilia. For sure. James says, JK, calm down, bro. Folk smokes him. Yeah. Mate, I know. Mate, I just can't, you know, the prospects of that fight, it just blows my mind. Damien says, all I'm saying is I'm very impressed with Ilia, and he's only 25. Wow, it's just true. He's got time. I don't want to I shouldn't really be blowing smoke up his ass too much. Imran Khan, welcome in, my brother. He says, is Ortega still in his prime or no? Zombie past his for sure. Yeah. Of course, if Ortega was to fight the Korean Zombie's way past it, I think, obviously, in my opinion. So Korean Zombie would make Ortega look really good. Is he past it? Of course, he's settling down with things with Tracy Cortez. Their relationship seems blooming. We see them two together more than we obviously seen Ortega fight or hit mitts or do anything like that. So, yeah, you got to ask the questions, really. Shango V says, Alan in a fight is super talented. On the mic, he's not so. Yeah, I get that. He's quite a funny dude, though. I keep saying that he's underrated in terms of like level of personality. He doesn't, you know, he's not the guy to call people out or anything like that, is he? No, I don't get it. He's a shy fella. Teddy Young says, Cater, Allen, Ortega. I'd love to see Ilia against all of them. Yeah, man. That's it. We needed this breakthrough. I was saying to Ash at the weekend, I think Ilia winning does more for the division than Bryce winning. You know, because Bryce is just a grappler. You know, and you've got, I guess, Emmett's got some good counter wrestling. Brian Ortega's a grappler in himself. Good striker is Rodriguez. So there's some more fun matchups, I think, for Ilia. Brian's flaws is his striking defense. His sub or bust. Ilia would do bad things, says Prince Mischief 225. Ilia is 13th rank as of this life. Knowing the UFC due to recent events, they'll give him max. Yeah. Again, you know, Max has got literally Emmett, Ilia, or I guess Max has still got some good fights in that division, but a little bit lower down. Teddy says, I think Max is a bit past his prime, but I'd probably pick him against any featherweight other than Volk. Yeah, I mean, you still probably would, wouldn't you? For sure. Let's move on then, because I mean, my only other option for Ilia would have been Movsar Evelev, of course, who's undefeated, 16-0. Good striking, good grappler in himself. So put both guys undefeated. Both would be kind of near each other in the rankings. Whether or not the UFC decide to do that, I don't know. Here's why I don't think they'll do that. Is because Ilia's been finishing guys. If he wasn't finishing his guys as much, they would give him someone who's literally next to him in the rankings. I think they'll fast track him for sure. Max versus Allen, UFC London, Bryce versus Sadiq. I mean, look, Ash, you've made it for me, man. I've got Sadiq in there. Got Sadiq in there for Mitchell. I think that makes sense. Give our boy Sadiq Youssef, good friend of ours on the channel, of course. Been on the Q&A series, been on the watch-alongs. He might make an appearance back in the next watch-along. Who knows? We can try and get him back in at some point. He was keen on getting back in there. Sadiq's got 70% takedown defense at the moment. He got his first submission win in his last outing. So who knows? Bryce better watch out. But of course, we know Sadiq Youssef's going to have the advantage on the feet. Bryce on the ground, of course. Does Bryce get Youssef down? That's the ultimate question in that fight. And yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense. Or you could give Evelev to Mitchell as well, because they're, you know, I'd imagine Mitchell's going to be just above him, maybe, perhaps. Who knows? When rankings do officially update. But yeah, top stuff, guys. Excellent chats in already for this fight. We're going to swiftly move on in just a sec. But Taylor Young says Ilia should move up just to batter Paddy. And look, he could very well do that. He wants that fight more than the featherweight fights, which is kind of crazy, really. I mean, it's just the world we live in, isn't it? Because Paddy is a name. He could very well do that, but I'd rather see Topuria at featherweight, to be honest. You know, I think featherweight's been dying out for contenders. Right, let's head back then. Let's talk about then the next fight of the night. Little bit of gutting for the UK fans, of course. Darius du Plessis gets the win against Darren Till. Kind of surprising. He's now moves into 18-2. He's on a 6-fight win streak. First round, it was a good performance. You know, I'm going to be talking about some of the expectations that I had for du Plessis coming into this fight. But first round was just horrible for Darren Till. You know, he just couldn't get going. Second round was a lot better. Started to tag him a little more on the feet. Started to land a stepping elbow when du Plessis was coming forward. But, you know, du Plessis coming into this, I expected him to be a little bit more calculated, a little bit more controlled when he entered into range. And I said that in the expectations. He did exactly that with Darren Till. Because, he, you know, his timing on those entries were causing Till some problems, you know. He just kind of easily forced Till into the clinch. And I also said that as well. Like, he needed to kind of press Till against the cage, wear him out, get him to kind of question himself a little bit. It's very sad. We're going to be talking a bit more about some of the post-fight stuff that Darren Till has been posting in a little bit later on as well. But, you know, it's gutting to see Darren Till at this kind of stage. Great, excellent win for du Plessis, though, of course. A name in Darren Till, former contender at welterweight. You know, and we're kind of off to the races, I guess, in a little bit. Is he the most exciting fighter, though? Is he the most... I don't know. I don't want to, you know, go in on him too much, but he just... I don't know. There's something about him just is kind of strange for me. I don't know. But anyhow, as you can see there, du Plessis did start before the event in at number 14. He's going to move up to 10 spot. Wow. There's some good fights for him, though, coming up. We've got two options. Damo says there is no need to go into detail about Till. He don't want it anymore. That's all it is. He is giving his opponents too much respect. That is simple. It's true. I have seen a turning point for Darren Till. You know, I think those losses hit him really hard against, you know, Brunson and Woodley and this, that, and the other. I think he's still a hard worker in the gym. I keep hearing this, you know. The fact that he took himself to Thailand and tried to, you know, really better himself, train harder and this, that, and the other. You know, to go all that and then still come up short is very hard to see. And yeah, like I said, we're going to get into it in just a sec. James MMA says, it's a shame as Till was so good at one point. And for sure, you know, he was such a good prospect to have. And he even agrees with Damien. So even if you agree with Damo, pop a like on the video because Damo's on fire tonight with his opinions. And as is James, of course, and Shango V. Everyone's in the chat. Yeah, it's very shocking to me. I think he just, you know, we were getting into some of the post-fights, like he has talked about stepping back a little bit. Is he somebody who's potentially too small for middleweight frame-wise, but then also too big for welterweight? You know, it's sort of like, where does Till fit in? Because I guess there's a lot of wrestlers really in middleweight, and I can't see him dropping down to welterweight. I really can't. Damien says, Till stopped being the bully and became the bullied. That single punch from Jorge changed his mentality. Yeah, you could be right. You're spot on. Again, Damo, pop a like on the video for Damo's thoughts. Ash says, everyone in top 15 takes Till down. Yeah, and we saw that. I even said I didn't really rate du Plessis' wrestling coming into this, but he took Till down with ease. I mean, yeah, people have been calling him Hamzat's BITCH since this fight, and it could be that could be the case. Shane VC said, Till, he had great training this time as well, needs to sort his head out. Also, His repaired knee is still a huge weakness, I think. He can't stand up when taken down. Yeah, we'll talk about that injury in a sec. Taylor Young says Till's takedown defense is abysmal for someone who had apparently been training with Khamzat. Goes to show that Khamzat just bullied him and used him as an English coach. Spot on, Taylor Young. Taylor Young, pop a like on the video for Taylor Young. Damien Collins says, yeah, Till's a gym bully, always has been, but in the cage, he's out of his comfort zone. Prince of Mischief says the UFC is going to keep Darren for one more fight, UFC London 2023, and then release him. At this point, Till has no potential in being champ. The improvements are not going to not being made. He's 50 in fight years. Shango V says, Davian, great call. Reminds me of Anthony Joshua, who stopped being any good when he stopped bullying and using his size. Spot on as well. Yes, Django. But the options then I've got for Du Plessis, though, Jack Hermansson, I think, is probably the most obvious option. Another awkward guy on the feet. Both guys just give jitters on the floor. Wrestling would be an issue, though, for Du Plessis. I think the advantage would clearly go to Hermansson in that. And Hermansson will need to use his wrestling more. I think he tried against Elise and came up short this time out. And that fight, for me, I think works well in terms of timing. I think Du Plessis is in good health. So fingers crossed that happens. The other option that I had, of course, would be someone a little bit lower down. The reason why I got this out there is because he made the call out. It's Chris Curtis. Again, he was on the prelims. But I think Du Plessis would want to wrestle in that fight or try to wrestle. But Chris has 100% takedown defense and still. So, that alone makes this fight even more intriguing because, like I said, I didn't really rate Du Plessis' takedown ability, to be honest. He's wrestling. So, and I think his timing on the feet might be an issue for Chris Curtis. It could be. Chris Curtis is potentially a smaller guy as well. So let us know what you think about that fight. I think I'd like that for Chris. Of course, he's going to be sitting there a little bit sort of the bottom half of that division. There's a lot of good fights for him coming up. Damon says the issue is he's not too big for welterweight. Look at current welterweight, top five. I guess, you have got Khamzat in there, 6'2". Edwards 6'3", 6 feet, yeah. Usman 6 foot. Yeah, I think height-wise it isn't. I guess it's just... I guess it's Till staying in shape. That's the real issue. If Till is able to stay in shape the whole time and be disciplined, then yeah, I think welterweight would be a good crack. I do. He just, loves the burgers and the pizzas, I'm afraid, and you can see it. And the beers, I think. Till isn't strong enough for middleweight. He's just a welterweight who can't be asked to cut weight. Yeah. Du Plessis will get slapped about by the top middleweights, potentially. Yeah. Just ability-wise, yeah, he is lacking a little bit. Du Plessis versus Delise, says Prince of Mischief. Yeah. I think that's a good option. I was tempted to put that in there. Timing makes sense, but the run that Delise is on at the moment, finishing dudes, I want to see him fight higher. That's my reason why I didn't put that in there. I think we said it the week before when Delise got the submission win against Jack Hermansson. We'd like to see him against maybe the winner or loser of Strickland versus Cannonier. I think that's a fun one for him. Especially if it's Strickland as well. It's potentially a winnable fight for... Actually, no, they train together. Ignore me. Could be Paulo Costa even as well. Costa would be a horrible one. Yeah, the size of Costa. Delise could easily submit him on the ground, I think. I think it's a horrible fight for Costa. But, of course, he's got to get past Robert Whittaker. Chris KOs him, says... Ashley says, I said to JK that Chris would KO Buckley, and look... Yep, spot on. Good pick, man. I thought that was going to go to a decision, personally. Damien says, I'm not weight cutting expert, and I'm sure people around Till has mentioned to him. Till just needs to lower his walk around weight, and his weight cut to 170 won't be such hell. He's a 170er, definitely. Yeah, I think we can all agree. Taylor Johnson says Buckley was never that good. He just had one really cool knockout. I mean, he's made some strides as Buckley. You know, I got to give him that. It did make me a little bit nervous coming into that Chris Curtis fight. Even though he lost against Imavov, I saw some goodness in some good work from Buckley in that fight. Ash says, I remember when they hyped him up and even had his own promo. Yeah, because it just went viral, man. It kicked off that back kick. I agree, Damien. Darren should be at welterweight. Yeah, I mean, we're going to see what's that. Prince of Mischief says Buckley makes small improvements in every fight, but his cardio and chin is holding back for sure. Okay, excellent chats at the moment. Yes, they're absolutely flying in, but we should probably move on swiftly to what's next for Darren Till, because I've got two options for Darren Till. We're going to get back, like I said earlier, to a little bit more Darren Till a little bit later on. He might be out for some time, wants to take some time out, but the option that I've got for him is Edmund Shabazian. It's the fight in middleweight that makes the most sense for Darren Till. If he's going to stick around at middleweight, of course, we're talking tonight about potential drop down again to welterweight. He could very well do that. If he wants to stay disciplined, I think he needs to. You know, he needs to look himself in the mirror once again, because his recent track record was not great, and go, okay, maybe welterweight is the one. If it's not, Edmund Shabazian is probably the likely bet. You know, I think guys are probably similar in size. And, you know, he's been going through a rough patch himself. He did get a win in this past weekend, of course. I didn't get to see that fight, unfortunately. But I see both guys at the same sort of stage, you know. But on the other hand, Till has fought better competition. Shabazian's, I think, more of a stand-up fighter, although I think he's got some submission wins on his resume as well. Oh, no, sorry, ignore me on that. 1 submission on his resume. 10 knockouts. So, yeah, his best performance was probably against Brad Tavares, which, you know, he finished him with a head kick. You know, Shabazian was another, again, like Till, a hype train in some ways. You know, they pushed him way too far. Did the UFC, and the UFC are learning from that. But yeah, I think that's probably the option that I would go for personally. But let us know what you guys think of that one. Ash says, yeah, both have terrible takedown defense. Good pick, JK. Yeah, it's a stand-up fight. You know, it is a stand-up fight. And it kind of leads me on to the second pick, which I had for the Shabazian. I've mentioned his name way too many times already in this Aftermath show. It's Chris Curtis. You know, because when you look at that division and you look at the guys who's not going to take Darren Till down, Chris Curtis is one of them. You know, they're not going to wrestle. They're going to stand and trade. And you've got the style of Darren Till, I think, causes problems for Chris Curtis. However, someone who has got a similar style to Till, Brendan Allen, but he's got submissions under his resume. Chris Curtis TKO'd him. So, you know, again, Chris Curtis is a bit of a small for a middleweight. And he could easily make the cut to welterweight. So you could do that. You could do that. I mean, I would love to get Curtis's opinions on that when I say that I reckon he could easily make welterweight. But, you know, maybe we'll ask him next time we see him on the channel. But yeah, they're my two options at that weight class, at middleweight. If he does drop down to welterweight, haven't got it written down in my notes. Maybe someone like Michael Chiesa would probably take him down. Neil Magny, I think, would be an issue. Oh, I don't know. Magny's a wishy-washy fighter. On his day, he can be really good, but I guess Magny versus Till would make sense. I don't think those guys have fought each other before. Or like a Michelle Pereira. Someone down the bottom half, because up the top, it's horrible. I mean, you could easily do Jeff Neal, I guess. But that's just too far up for someone who's low down in the middleweight rankings. Damien says, Till's takedown defense is irrelevant. He's just too weak. He run through. He's got decent defense, especially at welterweight. He's just too weak. Yeah, I say at welterweight, I'd give him those bottom half guys. See how he does there. You know, somebody who's been around, you know, for sure. All right, okay. One more chat on there. Till versus Wonderboy. Neither want to grapple, says Taylor. Yeah, we saw that fight. It was a very lackluster performance. And I'm a big Wonderboy fan, and I didn't really like watching that. I didn't really like the outcome either. But I wouldn't really want to watch that back. But in a lot of ways, the second time around would make a lot of sense. Wonderboy's fought a lot of the welterweight division. You know, hard times with Darren Till. Yeah, guess it would make sense in a way. But okay, moving swiftly on then. Let's head back. Third fight of the night. Wow. You know, lots to get through. Ponzinibbio, man. Ponzinibbio picking up the win out of nowhere. Morono got the knockdown, though, in round 1. Looked pretty good on the feet. Looked very quick for Ponzinibbio. Ponzinibbio had a lot of success using the jab to the body to wear down Alex Morono. He was constantly looking for a home for that right hand and got it in the third round. You know, got to give props, obviously, to Alex Morono for stepping in on short notice because he looked good despite getting losing in the third round there. But look, Ponzinibbio moves on now onto winning ways, and back onto winning terms. 2 in his last 5, mind you. So the picks though for him are going to be a little bit slim pickings. Sorry for using the word pick several times. Actually, I've got this locked, dude. Damien said give him Jorge rematch. Both need a win. I was referring to Till. Yeah, I guess it would make sense, that one, really. Because who wants to see Masvidal fight anyone in the top half again? You know, he's on hard time. He's not looking great either. But anyhow, back onto Ponzinibbio. 2 options for Ponzinibbio. I've got Muslim Salakov, who's 19-3, coming off a win against Andre Fialho. Another stand-up fighter. I think he's probably the same level of quickness as Ponzinibbio, personally. I think it's be an all-out stand-up affair. Salakov, however, I think he's got some submissions on his resume as well, but it's getting Ponzinibbio down is the ultimate question. 2, okay. I thought it was a lot more than that. Last time he got a submission win was back in 2017, so look, all that stand-up affair. I think Ponzinibbio would probably prefer that. Good fight, I think. Good fight. James MMA says, good matchup there, JK. Thank you, sir. Damien says, Alex didn't nothing wrong. Just got caught. That's the game, for sure. MMA Jesus says, you're a casual if you think Gordon won. Look, you just try and play games with me. We're going to get onto that fight in just a sec. Look, but hold your thought there. Let me know why you thought Paddy Pimblett won that fight, and I will give you my reasons why he didn't. Because not many people thought Paddy won that fight. But we're going to get into that in just a sec. Other option for Ponzinibbio, though, Francisco Trinaldo. Who wouldn't want to see that fight? Both good with their hands. Probably a more boxing affair, if anything. Another veteran of the game, but still looks good. Trinaldo still looks good at his age. He's what, 40 odd? He's literally 44. And, you know, look, lost against Randy Brown, but look, Randy Brown's a star. He's very awkward. Beat Danny Roberts, beat Dwight Grant. Lost against Muslim Salakov, I mentioned just a second ago. Beat Jai Herbert, okay, little bit of a funny one. Jai was looking good early on in that fight. But look, you know, the guy's only had 2 losses in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights. So, still doing the damn thing. Most of his wins, of course, by decision. I think it was a stand-up warfare, to be honest. And that's why I've got that one in there. But let me know in the comments what you think. Would you prefer Salakov for Ponzinibbio, or would you prefer Francisco for Trinaldo? Django V says, late step-in, huge respect to M. Looked a good start for him. He is very skilled. Then Pons found his rhythm. Yeah, spot on, Shango. Yeah, man. I think Alex Morono will get back in there and look good. Of course, yeah, you got to give him props. Damien says, you're a grown man, by the way. I'm not even going to read that one out. MA Jesus reckons 3-0 Paddy. I was there, mate. Were you not buying into the crowd? Whether you're there or not doesn't matter. Like, let's be real. You're feeding off the energy of the crowd. That's why you thought Paddy won. If you watch it again, my man, there's no way you're giving round 1 to Paddy. No way you're giving that round to Paddy. It's an absolute joke, but we're going to get into that in just a second. You can't just come up. Well, we're getting through the card, mate. We're getting through the card. Be patient, my bro. We're pretty patient. These guys want to talk about this one. We'll get into that. Okay. Not gonna lie, rematch is not a bad shout. Full camp. Yeah. Could happen down the line. Of course, no one's going to be jumping a bit for it, but spot on Damo. I quite like that one. As for Alex Morono, though, I've only really got one option for him. And this obviously depends on the outcome of the fight, which is this weekend. Jake Matthews, if he beats Matt Semmelsberger, because, of course, Matt Semmelsberger lost to Alex Morono, the last one out. So I quite like that one personally. For Alex Morono, I think both guys are sort of similar level in the welterweight division, and that's the reason why I've got that one in there. Move on then. Let's move on then, of course, because I think you guys are desperate to talk about this one. Okay, desperate to talk about this one, of course, which Paddy Pimblett picking up the unanimous decision victory. It was unanimous, wasn't it? Yeah. I had to check then. Definitely wasn't split, which was strange. Against Jared Gordon. Look, now I've given this fight a second watch. At the time, even though when you're watching it during the watch along like we are and emotions are high, we're engaging with you guys in the chat at the same time. We're engaged in the fight, but we kind of want Paddy to win. We picked Paddy to win. Watching this fight, I had Jared Gordon winning. And giving it a second watch, I had Jared Gordon winning again. And the reason for this, round one, when you go back, yes, Paddy was the aggressor. He was coming forward. But Gordon was doing well defensively. Okay? Look back at the numbers and you will see. And every strike that he was throwing, Gordon, he was coming up short. Gordon was, rolling off them. And the counters that Gordon was landing were far bigger. And let's go into the scoring criteria again, shall we? It's effective striking, not the striking number. Doesn't matter how many strikes you throw, okay? You've got to be impactful with them. Jared Gordon was the most impactful with his strikes and therefore won the round, because grappling wasn't really much of it. I mean, there was a takedown, to be fair, in that first round, and that was from Jared Gordon. So, let's see. Imran Khan says, "Jesus, you're a moron if you think Paddy actually won." Literally, no one thought Paddy won that fight other than Paddy. Even Dana has not admitted that Paddy won. And I think this was actually a bad stoppage for Alex. He was winning every minute. Look, just because he was winning doesn't make it necessarily a bad stoppage. I think it was a good shot from Ponzinibbio, but it is what it is. James MMA says, "You're not funny, sir," to MMA Jesus. So everyone's just piling up on MMA Jesus in this. I mean, no disrespect, but okay, right. So, all right, let's just keep the chat a little bit down, the heat a little bit down to it. He had Alex face Jim Miller, says Damien. No, but I think Jim Miller's gone back down to lightweight though. But this is not a bad shout, because Jim Miller was at welterweight for a little bit back into his career. He's in the back end of his career. Damien says, "I'm a huge Paddy fan. Round 1 and 3, Gordon." Okay, so we'll get him into the round by round stuff. So that was my opinion for round 1. I gave it to Gordon. Round 2, much closer. Gordon landed the harder shots, but Paddy had the momentum towards the end of the round. Now, as we can see there, I don't know if you guys can see the scorecards. Try my best to squint a little bit. Every judge had that second round to Paddy. In my opinion, I think Doug Crosby and Ron McCarthy were both scoring this fight based on pressure. Having watched this fight back, that's my opinion. And pressure doesn't win you fights, I'm afraid. You've really got to open your eyes. But yeah, every judge scored the second round to Paddy. It's for 50-50 round for me. Like I said, Paddy had the momentum towards the end. Gordon, I think, landed a very good shot or two during the exchanges, counted very well. Again, difficult. up in the air. I wouldn't have been mad if it was like 30-27, to be honest. But if you're going to give Paddy that round, it would have been round 2 of all the rounds. I guess I'm round 3, I guess, as well. You can make an argument for that. But, you know, I'll get into it in just a sec when we talk about round 3. Because there's arguments for both sides in round 3. And it's kind of like, well, you know, where do you put it? James says round 2 was the closest round, and I still had Gordon winning. So even James thinks so. Shangavi says Gordon's counters did more damage, so he won round 1. So Shangavi agrees. So Young says this was a baddie with Jan versus Sean. Sean at least had solid moments and was visibly hurting Jan. Paddy done nothing aside from get his cranium bounced, and then he got controlled. Yeah. Ash says, yeah, man, I still had Gordon, and we all know we love Paddy. Exactly, man. You know, got to be honest at the end of the day. Let's not be biased. Let's try not to be biased. I would try not to be biased, you know? And I've got pictures with Paddy twice. I've spoken to the guy. I've had banter with the guy. Cage Warriors, you know? This is what it is. Taylor Young reckons 3-0 Gordon. Damage, domination, duration. And Shango V has said this before. That's the criteria in that order. That's my round 1 opinion. Gordon didn't do shit. Says, look, go back and watch the fight, mate. Go back and watch the fight. I know you're just trying to do this for clout, mate. You're just trying to jump on board with us for the clout. It's not working, mate. You're making yourself look a fool. James says, get out this chat, bro. This is we all having a good talk. Yeah, I mean, look. Some of us in here are Paddy fans, and we thought he lost. Got to be honest at the end of the day. But yeah, round 3 then. A lot of pressure against the cage for Gordon. That's pretty much the story of that. Yeah, nothing significant happened. Paddy landed more strikes, of course, but Gordon could be considered the aggressor in this, okay? And this is where I can see 2 of those judges scoring it for Gordon, which kind of, weirdly enough, is the 2 judges who scored the fight to Paddy. You know? You know, I think that the middle judge is the better judge in this, clearly, because he's got round 1, in my opinion. He's got round 1 in the winning. But what I don't get is then he's gone for Paddy in round 3. And the reason why is because, you know, well, the other guys have gone Gordon based on the pressure, which I can see. Because in that round, when you look at it, right, was there any effective striking? Not really. A couple of taps from Paddy in there. Nothing significant, right? Number 2, was there effective grappling? Well, not really, because Gordon did hold him there, didn't advance position, right? So after that, you just go to aggression. Who wins that round based on aggression, guys? Oh, wait. Who do you think? Who do you think? Was there damage, though? Was there really damage, though? Jesus. In that 3rd round? Are you talking about that 3rd round? Who was the aggressor in that 3rd round? If you had to score it. If there was nothing significant striking, no significant grappling by either side, who was the aggressor? And that's where I can see that Doug Crosby and Ron McCarthy have gone for Gordon in that round. So they've scored it based on who's the aggressor coming forward. Not everything. So, you know, that's where I got to go against Chris Lee on the 3rd round. It's a bit of a weird one. I mean, you know, there's arguments to be made. You could say, well, Paddy landed more strikes in that 3rd round, but like I said before, it's not about the amount of strikes you land. Yes, he did stall, and we're going to get into Dana's opinions in this in just a sec later on as well, because that's a whole new topic. Right, Paddy all day. Damien says, I don't like people blaming the UFC. The judges run off emotion. Yeah, it's the judging that's the problem, not the UFC, not the fighters. I sometimes have the same thing when the person I want to win is losing. I don't see the full picture. And yeah, I'm pretty sure, like Damo, you said something before in the last Aftermath show. Or was it that one or the one before when we're talking about Paddy Yarn against Sean O'Malley? Yeah, that's one. MAGs, go to my page and watch the walkout. Well, yeah. I mean, look, I know what you're trying to do, mate. You're trying to get these guys to get into your page. Yeah, the walkout was pretty fire. Awesome. Taylor Young says, I like Paddy. I just don't think he won. The fight confirmed his level, though. Yeah, for sure. And like it's been so hard to try and pick the next fight for Paddy in this. It's been the hardest one. Because I'm like, who do we give him? Who do we give him? My personal opinion, in a way, Matt Frevola does make sense, right? But in the way, I'm hoping it's not Matt Frevola. Because Matt Frevola has actually been making a lot of improvements on his striking. And, you know, I think he's the better striker than Paddy. I really do. The ground is the top toss-up for me. Matt Frevola's, I think, going to be... He's going to be physically stronger than Paddy. I don't know. I think Paddy might have height on Frevola, but strength is going to be an intriguing one. I think that's probably what that fight would come down to, which is the reason why I probably wouldn't mind that fight. But yeah, like I said, it's difficult. Let's see. Shango V says, round 3 is a weird call. Gordon did have control, but did nothing with it. Paddy didn't do much either. For me, I thought Paddy lost when I watched it back. Okay, yep. No way in hell Paddy won, says Damian Collins. Gerard 2-3 wasn't close. I honestly think Paddy did more every round. Yeah, but the thing is, mate, just because you're throwing strikes doesn't mean you're winning the fight. A lot of those strikes were blocked. Go back and watch it. Gerard Gordon's guard was tight, mate. It was solid defense on his level. Paddy landed a couple of times, but who won the most? Who got sent backwards the most? It was Paddy, and it's as effective striking, I'm afraid, over the striking numbers. Imran says, bro, they're no better judge between those 3. They are all equally bad. They had just 2 fights to decide, and they botched both badly. Yeah. Taylor Young says, Uncle Dana has got to JK, paid him to make out as if the fight was more competitive. It's a setup. Look, I mean, we're going to get into David's opinions in a bit, because it's funny how he chooses his words very wisely. M.A. Jesus says, Matt is a great fight. Good look. Yeah, I like that one. But I mean, personally, I would like to see Paddy fight somebody who's, you know, again, striking's not their forte, but is also good on the ground. And it's kind of hard to think of somebody similar in that division. I mean, Prince of Mischief said Terrence McKinney because he's going to humble Paddy. Okay, yeah. Again, that would have been a nice option for me, but Terrence is very long in the tooth, and he could get the Paddy fight. Would it make sense? I don't really want to see it. I think it's a hard one for Paddy. In a way, I think Paddy needs to go away, and I'm hoping realization hits him, to be honest, after watching the fight back, and he takes some time to polish up the striking. I mean, like I said before, when he came into the UFC, his striking is forever improving. It has improved since Cage Warriors Day. Okay, it has, but not enough at the moment. The problem is with having the star power like Paddy. People want to see him fast-tracked. People are already talking about top 15 guys, even though they thought that he lost. We're still saying, oh, he's going to get murdered by the top 15 guys. You know, we're still talking about top 15. He's not there yet. He's just not. I want to see some time. I wouldn't even be mad if they gave him the Sean O'Malley treatment. Yes, okay, Chris Moutinho stepped in at short notice and stuff, but look, even if it was someone like that, someone that nobody knows about, who's got a lot of heart, striking's not their forte, put Paddy in against someone like that. You know? That's my opinion. My other option was for RZM. 13-4. You know, he's coming off did he come off a win against John McDessie? I believe that was a win. Yeah, I think it was a win, because he looked really good in that fight as well, at UFC Paris. No, not John McDessie. I was thinking of someone else then. Yeah, Figlak, that's the one. He was a Cage Warriors boy as well. He's gone back to Cage Warriors, actually, as Figlak. Lost against Terrence McKinney, though, of course. So, you know, that's where that one's a bit of a worrying one for me. I mean, Jesus reckons T-Rex. Jared was rocked a few times. Paddy wasn't. I don't think he looked rocked. I don't. You know, again, it comes down to crowd momentum. Just because the crowd's on Paddy's side, they're going to make more noise when Paddy lands a shot, doesn't necessarily mean that he's rocked. And I think that's where you're getting that from, personally. Imran says, how old is Paddy now? Can he even change / improve anymore? Yeah, there you go. Damien's cleared up. It's 27. I think Matt knocks Paddy out. He's been calling Matt Favola's been calling for his Paddy fight for time. He could get it. Of course, we give him 50-45. Stabilo is disgusting, and then 24 hours scoring it for Paddy was awful. Judges should not be scoring back-to-back days. Yeah, true. Good shout, my man. Yeah, the only option I got for Jared Gordon, bit of a rush run this one for me, would have been Mark Madsen. I think it's an intriguing one. Madsen, of course, coming off a loss against Grant Dawson. Both guys losing to Grant Dawson. So, you know, I think Mark Madsen's looked really good at MMA. He really has. Difficult last time out, of course, against Grant Dawson. But, you know, Jared Gordon's been around himself. You know, he's had some wins. He's had some losses. He's had some good wins, to be fair. You know, that Leonardo Santos was actually quite a good win. The fact he was able to keep it on the feet against the jiu-jitsu guy. You know, it's obviously Gordon's hits probably harder than Madsen easily, but again, he's not really a knockout artist, is Gordon, is he? But you know, he landed clean on Paddy. He landed clean, and rocked Paddy back the most. Shears Taylor says, Shango, I've always had that opinion about Paddy. His first UFC win seems to have confused him into thinking he has the hands. Yeah, I know. It is a funny one. With Paddy at the moment, it's like, it's difficult because we all kind of compare his stardom to Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor was far better at this stage of his career. Far more better. Striking and, okay, of course, you probably give the grappling edge to Paddy, of course. But I think Conor's probably got some better wrestling than Paddy, you know? And that makes that potential fight down the road interesting. But yeah, I think Paddy's got a lot of work to do, personally. Prince of Misha said, Paddy ain't improving anymore. He's stuck with what he's got. What was got. He seems to be fine with his style. Yeah, I know. I think he's a stubborn person, is Paddy as well. Look, I've said this about Conor, and I'll say this about Paddy. He's not going to change camps, but I'd like to see it, you know. I really would. I'd like to see him move to the US. I think when he gets a loss, that's when he'll start to realise. You know, it happened with everyone. Happened with Bisping, you know, we moved to the US. Why wouldn't you if you're Paddy Pimblett? You got the money to. But, you know, if you want to stick to Liverpool, home is home. He's a very proud Liverpudlian, and he probably will stick that way. You know, Molly hasn't. Molly's been around the UFC a lot longer than he has. So, Damien says, Paddy has very green striking. I think he means good striking. The 13-year-olds in gym would batter him on the feet. Conor was champ at 27, no? Oh, I actually don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. We need a fact checker in there. Good chats in there. Some good exchanges. But yeah, I mean, we're going to come back to this story in just a sec. We've got main event shenanigans to get on with as well. That's pretty much next on the agenda. Another funny decision, you know, another poor end to a fight in a way. How did this fight go? Well, Jan had the success, of course, with the leg kicks. We all saw that. Said this going into the fight because they caused Rakic some damage. They were preventing Ankalaev from getting off his strikes. But then Ankalaev started to turn it up a little bit later on in the fight, finding his groove a little bit, and was able to land takedowns on Jan. And I think Ankalaev then, I think at the start, I think Ankalaev didn't realise just how easy he could get Jan down. I think he timed the takedowns in the fight to a T. I think it was a good, place to start taking Jan down when his legs were completely compromised. Scoring this fight was hard, man. I thought maybe Ankalaev edged it. I think he probably did deserve it. Didn't give this one a second watch, however, just because, mate, Sai's stuck in Berlin at the moment, so I've had to basically put the show together myself. Time has not been on my side, I'm afraid. And had box fit earlier as well. Taylor Young says Connor had all right takedown defense. Yes, that's true. Jan's kicks, man, says Ash. He's 33 now, right? Was 6 years ago. 25 says Damien. So Damien can do the maths there. Green striking equals learn. Okay, all right. That's where that term gets thrown around then in boxing gyms. That makes sense. Okay, thanks for clearing that up, guys. MMA Jesus says was a good fight. Okay, yeah, even though Danny says it wasn't great, I thought it was a good back and forth scrap, to be honest. Damien says, can be honest, I had it 3-2. Jan, okay, a different opinion there. Jan felt defeated because of the last 2 rounds, but he won the fight as a whole. There is feeling defeat, and then there's actually being defeated. Yeah, true. There's a good point, Damo. There's two differences there. Taylor Young personally said he 48-47 to Ankalaev. Yeah, I mean, Ash said definitely 10-8 round, 5th round, though. That's where it can get that's where the judging for me gets a little bit, a little bit of a funny one. Because as we can see there, it's, 10-8 for 2, the judges in the last round, but I think, was it one judge scored 10-8 later on? My eyeballs, man. Was there another 10-8? I thought there was a 2 10-8s. Maybe I was wrong then. Okay. So yeah, everyone scored in that last round 10-8. You guys can see that better than I can. Please give me the nod. In fact, well, to be fair, I've probably got it back here, to be fair. A little bit bigger. There we go. No, I was right. Okay. Don't know where I've got that one from then. CTE, man. It's just all the sparring I do. No, I'm joking. I don't spar. Maybe at some point. But anyhow, moving on then. There's not really much to talk about in terms of like what's next for these guys. I haven't got the rankings in, so I didn't think there was a point in looking at it. I'd like to see these guys run it back. It makes it clear. Dana probably doesn't want to do that. If they're going to run it back, it'll probably be a co-main event. It'll be 3 rounds. To be realistic, if you're Dana and you've just been absolutely ripping this main event to shreds, like you did, why would you be booking that as a fight night headliner? Changabi says wrong decision. The main, also a grind of a watch mostly. Ankalaev bearing this week leg defense was slightly better. Checking leg kicks next time around, man. I think he's gonna be drilling that to a T. But then, again, you're gonna get your leg snapped like Connor did. Taylor Young says legendary Polish power in the kicks, though. Yeah, for sure. I think you forget about his hands. That's the thing with Jan. What's so good is those leg kicks are tremendously powerful, and they make you neglect the hands. His hands are unbelievable. Damien says, that's my opinion, 3-2 Jan, but I understand people's opinions. I'm not sure about the 10-8 Jan was throwing from the ground. It was, if he wasn't, then definitely a 10-8, but I still think he was fighting back. Yeah, fair play. And look, it was not like Ankalaev had him in much of a submission problem in that 5th round, I don't think. Ankalaev said he wanted out of the UFC. So we're going to get into that in just a sec. Bear with that, because that's going to come up in just a sec. And Imran Khan says round 2-3 Jan. Round 4-5 Ankalaev. Round 1 is what needs to be scrutinized. Okay, yeah. Sai's in the house. Yes, probably like on the video. Sai from Berlin says, can't have 3 rounds for a title fight. It won't be. Mate, Sai, where have you been? Look, we're going to get into that in just a sec. What's happening with the title picture? That's the main topic of this Aftermath show is the title picture, because it's taken a bit of a twist. Damo says, Yuri will be out for a while. I don't want to sound like that guy, but I'm seeing a trend with Russians and decisions. I don't want to point fingers. I'm just letting it be known. Apart from, obviously, Islam Makhachev, of course, who has been finishing guys. Surely it'll be a 5-rounder. I agree. It may go main on a pay-per-view, though. Nah. Hello from Berlin. I reckon Jan could kick a house down. JK killed me in the watch long. Legendary Polish kicks. I break legs with legendary Polish kick. Taylor Young says Jan versus Ankalaev 2 won't be for the belt. They're looking for Glover versus Jamal. Yeah, okay, let's get into that then. Let's get into that because that's the topic of the socials now. Oh, not that one. We don't want that one. That's an old one. Boof. There it is. Okay. So the topic of this is, let me just get it back on my big screen. It was obviously Ankalaev's post-fight. There was a bit of confusion, right? Because Ankalaev, it sounded like Ankalaev said that he was done with the UFC and his Russian was translated a little bit off. Which kind of led to Dana making the fight between Glover versus Jamal Hill for the vacant title at UFC 283. Which is funny, right? Because Dana doesn't make fights on the night of a pay-per-view. He said he wouldn't do it, but he did do it, right? Question is, did Dana do it because of what Ankalaev supposedly said in the post-fight interview? Or did he do it because he's desperate for a headliner at UFC 283? I know where my opinions lie with this. Now, Ankalaev did clear it up, and I'll read his post, which was via Twitter. He says, I want to clear something up. What I said after the fight was I don't want to fight in this city anymore because of the horrible judging. Okay, so he's not done with the UFC. I did not say anything about I don't want to fight in the UFC. I want to thank Dana and Mick Maynard for the opportunity. So, that's basically what he said, and he cleared that up. And, you could argue, of course, that he won the fight. You could also say that he deserves to be fighting for the vacant belt again. But then you could also argue and say that they need to clear it up with the Jan scenario. So, Dana clearly felt that neither of these two deserved to fight for the belt. I think that Dana's made this fight because he knew it was the perfect excuse, right? Because I think the UFC didn't want to make Morono versus Figueiredo for the in Brazil to headline. I don't think they wanted to make it as a headline. I really do. I really don't, because they wanted Yuri versus Glover to headline that event, and then Yuri turned it down, and then they pushed it the week before that, and they agreed with it. John Anik, of course, after the Figueiredo Moreno 3 fight, said that he wouldn't mind seeing this fight headline a pay-per-view because he felt like he deserved it. I get that opinion. I get that spin on it. But I just don't think that the UFC and Dana White McMahon wanted to make that choice. I really don't. Sorry, so I was meant to say, may you go co-main and pay-per-view. Yeah, I think it's best, to be honest. Taylor Young says, that's 2 former Paul Craig victims getting a title shot. Paul Craig, man. Paul Craig needs to get back on it, man. Needs to get back on it. What's good, everyone? It's Canadian Bacon. Canadian Bacon's back in from work. How's work, T? Hope you're doing well. Damon says, we're all talking about who lost and who won. The real victim is Anthony Smith. He's the only man who has lost. Yeah, for sure. And look, you've got to feel sorry for Anthony Smith. I watched the broadcast because I got a dodgy fire stick. Do you know what I mean? Went on the TSN page to check out the post-fight broadcast and saw Anthony Smith's face when they had announced the fight, when they announced it to him, and you could see he was really gutted. What's good that's come out of this is that Anthony Smith's actually said that he's going to go train Jamal Hill for this fight. Who better to have help train you in Anthony Smith, who's been in there with Glover? So it kind of makes sense. Look, I think UFC would be doing Glover a favor with it being in Brazil as well. There's that aspect to it. I think Jamal Hill, you could argue, does he deserve a title fight? Probably not. But they're doing it anyway. And a quote there from Dana. What are you going to do? I think the main event was terrible. What are you going to do? And look, he's trying to bounce off. He's trying to blame the main event for him making this new fight at light heavyweight. It's not. I don't think he's the one to blame, really. The UFC has been running out of options lately. They really have. They've been really banking on the return of John Jones to fill card against Miocic, and it's just not come to fruition. Yeah, well said, man. Phil for Smith. Yep, so James MMA agrees with Damo there. Imran says, feel bad for Ankalaev, but also kind of happy for Glover's getting his title fight so soon in Brazil. So, guys, I guess my ultimate question for you then is, who's going to win out Jamal Hill versus Glover? Look, I can see Jamal... Look, I would love to see Glover win. I really would. And, of course, the ground is going to be where he's going to want to take it. There's no doubt about it. I've got a weird feeling Jamal Hill's going to be your champion. I do. He's on a tear at the moment. There's no denying that. And, you could say maybe skill-wise, he's got incredible hands. But it was only, last year he lost to Paul Craig? But I've got a feeling he's gonna get the win. I don't know why. I just got a feeling he's gonna rock Glover, and he's gonna win the belt. It's going to go bananas. It's going to be the Leon Edwards story for Jamal Hill. I think that. Canadian Mason said, good day, Shango. Work going well. And I agree. Annick Smith is getting it on a stick, unfortunately. Prince of Mischief says, gotta be honest, this Figgy versus Morono 4 fight, I have zero interest in. Yeah, me a little bit as well. I need to see new contenders. I might be in the majority with this stake. Yeah. And that's why I think the UFC are looking at it like this. I think they'd prefer that fight being on the co-main again, which just sucks. Damon says, being in there with Glover, stop being nice. I don't want to use a word to describe it, but it rhymes with grape. Okay, yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. Just Glover was just what he does, isn't it? But he's getting older. However, Dana was saying that even maybe he overreacted because it was an issue with Magomed's translator that caused the Hill vs. Glover announcement directly post-event when he says he never makes... Yeah, no, I don't know. Dana will say that, but I know for a fact that Dana... Why the reason why Dana wanted to make that fight. Because, they could have even just waited it out. Plus, what's Ankalaev's motive to say that he's done with the UFC, even though it's lost in translation? Like, has the UFC ever done him dirty? Strange. Love everyone's comments to James MMA. Absolutely. And he reckons Glover subs him. Yeah, I can see it. I think that's probably going to be... I think Jamal Hill was actually favourite, surprisingly enough. Did I read that the other day? Then the night of, he was very angry because of the missed translation. Yeah, okay. Let's move on then to the second story. Then, of course, which is, I guess, a bit of a positive from Dana White, because we've seen... Literally evil Dana and good Dana in the same night, because he was very generous. And it's because of this. UFC 282 did tie the record for straight finishes, which was 10. One away from breaking, which is madness, to put it that way. And Dana, because of it, Dana decided he was going to give every finisher 50K. And look, when there's a topic about fighter pay... I mean, look, to be fair, it's died down a little bit, hasn't it? Dana comes good and he gives those finishers, everyone, a 50 Gs. And look, props to Dana for doing this. He didn't have to. Maybe this came after he went on his rant. I think so. I hope so, anyway. Because, look, Dana's mood must have changed so much in the duration of that press conference. Hill for me says Shango. Interesting. Only thing on a tear is... Jamal's arm against Paul Craig. See, there we go. The Scotsman, of course, flying the flag for Paul Craig there. Yeah, good stuff from Dana, man. Good stuff. Good to see it, and well deserved. Got that. Obviously, Paddy didn't get his 50 Gs. Paddy was trying to get the fight of the night, wasn't he? Better luck next time, eh? So let's move on to then briefly, that was a quick one. So the next one was obviously quote From Dana in regards to the Paddy versus Gordon fight, he said he felt like he had the first 2 rounds and went in and pushed him against the fence. And I've got to go after the ref 2. A big fight, a co-main event, 3rd round, crowd's going crazy, and you're going to let them stand against the fence the entire fight. Horrible game plan by Gordon. The ref let it happen, and he threw the fight away. He was doing great in that fight. He should have fought the 3rd round. And look, even Paddy came out and said in the post-fight press conference, he was fine just standing there because his ankle was busted. And he even said, Gordon could have gotten me out of there if he decided to stand and trade. So, yeah, look, it's funny. Maybe it could have happened, and maybe Gordon should have taken that risk. Again, you know... And Dana goes back to allude to the whole, you shouldn't leave it in the hands of judges. Shouldn't leave it in the hands of judges. But the problem is these fighters are so high level now. You can't use that excuse. You're just giving the judges a reason to get away scotch-free. The issue is the judging. You know, and we can go back and forward with this for ages. But look, man, what are you doing? But it's funny that Dana, I don't think, I did replay back the press conference. Remind me if I'm wrong, if I missed it. But Dana didn't say that Jared Gordon won. Dana wasn't even looking at the cage when the announcement was being made. You could tell on Dana's face that he felt that Gordon won that fight. And look, people have seen that clip and they've kind of spun it and felt that, you know, it was potentially rigged. You can see it on Dana's face. I think it's been taken out of context. Personally, I don't think it was rigged. I think it's just poor judging, you know? I think blaming it, saying it's rigged is not the step to go down. Because, again, the judges kind of get away with it. Putting the blame on and saying it was rigged points fingers at the UFC. And the UFC is not the problem in this. It's the judging. And we've got to sort this out. It's just atrocious. Former fighters should be in there. I'm sure a lot of these guys in the chat, for sure you guys could probably judge fights better than these guys. But look, you know, again, we look at the striking numbers there. We'll go back to it then. Don't know if you guys can see it. Total strikes then, of course, according to this, across the whole fight. Now, this is just across the whole fight. This isn't round by round. You know, we shouldn't really be scoring it based on the whole fight, but these are the numbers. Jared Gordon obviously threw more, but Paddy landed more significant. There we go. Yeah, sorry. On that. So, yeah, no, Gordon landed 100, Paddy landed 97. So even Paddy's short on that. But more significant for Paddy. But who's got the higher ratio there? That's Jared Gordon. You know, let me know what you think. Let me think. Oh, these chats gone mad. Ash just distracted me for a second. Damien says Paddy lost to Hawani, so he's got to climb the rankings. Canadian Bacon says Dana openly admitted that he made that fight on the fly because he was upset with the performance of both men, which makes no sense because Jan. Okay, right, we're moving on. Never said. Yeah, I know Canadian Bacon. We've touched upon that. JK, don't forget to mention the part where after he mentioned by accident that Gordon was doing very well during the fight and he had to backtrack. Fair point. He did say that despite the fact that he said clearly that he won. Of course he's going to say that. Of course he's not going to admit that he lost the fight, though, is he? You know, it's Paddy being Paddy. And Paddy's doing those things that are going to keep him in the limelight, keep people talking about him, because that's what he does. Agree, JK. Judges need to be held accountable for super bad decisions like that. It ruins sports integrity when they are not. Prince Mischief says, Imran, that's because the UFC is publicly traded company. It has to be please investors. Yeah, that's true. Oh, because Imran, sorry, said, missed that one. Said Dana used to care about fighters being wronged. now he only cares about money. Again, partially that's because of the sale of the UFC, you know. It's true, you know, Prince of Mischief is spot on there. Yeah, obviously back to strikes, head numbers more, so for Paddy. You know, there's not really much in it for the rest. Control time, going to Gordon. Again, control time doesn't really mean jack. Got 3 takedowns as well. Yeah, man. Yeah, I could probably class that as a robbery. But again, like we said before, second round was very difficult to call. All right, Canadian Bacon. Canadian Bacon. We'll get to that clip in just a sec. Let's keep everyone on track. Moving on then, I guess, to the last little bit. We'll just touch upon this briefly, really, about Darren Till going back on there. You know, he says he's not retiring. This is not a retirement speech. I'm 29. That would be stupid to retire, but I'm on a bit of a losing skit at the moment. I really am. I give my all to this sport. I don't know what to do now. I think I'm going to have a little bit of time off from the UFC, even though he's been out for a while due to injury, and just to rethink stuff. I'm not retiring. I want to fight soon. I want to fight next year. But yeah, basically what he's saying from that, and it comes out of the what we saw, a clip of Darren Till speaking to Bruce Buffer after the fight, and said that he tore his ACL. So again, another injury for Darren Till is setting him back. And I think this is all part of the parcel of the whole build up to why we're getting these performances from Darren Till. You know, it's the gun shy from being knocked out against Masvidal. You know, it's the getting out wrestled by Derek Brunsons and things like that. It's, you know, it's clearly knocked his mental state clearly isn't there, you know, for competing. I still think he, as you can still see there, that he's still got the drive to compete. He still wants to compete and do things, you know, because the build up for going into the Tyron Woodley fight, he really felt that, you know, he was destined to be champion one day, and he's kind of got that, you know, that I think, but Michael Bisping, I think, has probably been someone he's clearly looks up to, I think, with this. You know, he wants to be champion. He wants to almost follow in that those footsteps. And back when he was on the tear, you know, you could tell he was the guy that Bisping passed the torch to go out and do it. And, you know, it is hard to see. Canadian Bacon says, don't go out there and just lean on the guy after you were doing great and the rest of the fight. Yeah, that's what Dana said. Prince of Mischief says Darren Till should go PFL. Try fight a lower level competition and win $1 million. I think everyone's going to be on that, to be honest. I keep saying that. Maybe he's one fight away from. I don't know. I can't. It's struggled to see the UFC cut Darren Till because of course he's very entertaining. He's a Brit, which, you know, and the UFC need these British fighters. They need to keep them around for sure to fill cards over here, especially after the explosion of this year. Very difficult. Damien says Darren just needs unranked opponents, get some wins. Glover took a step back after losing a lot and became the champ. Yeah, for sure. You know, and look, same with Charles Oliveira as well. So I'm sure Darren's using these little things as, you know, motivation when is training and he's in the gym. Seems though he's on this rut. But when he gets in the cage and he's under the lights, something's not clicking. I think he needs to go see like a mental coach or something like that. Shango V says, this has been a difficult Till since his injury, multiple injuries, and time out due to a lockdown as well. Yeah, that all adds to it. That's a good, I forgot to add to that bit as well. So that in with the mix is just not a good, you know, concoction. Canadian Bacon says, I would like to see Till properly recover. Hopefully he can come back and might be a real resurgence from him. Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? Okay. You guys have been phenomenal tonight, man. Absolute fire. You've been keeping me on my toes throughout this whole show. And we've been going for literally so long. I've got to thank you guys. We got to head this one back then to the main screen. Because I've got to thank you guys for tuning in, keeping me on my toes. And like I said, man, some top opinions tonight. Gotta thank you. I can't thank you guys enough. Smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. And don't forget, this weekend, we've got the last fight night of the year. We've got Jerry Cannonier taking on Sean Strickland. The fight card is going to be pretty intriguing. It's going to be a fun one for sure to see out the year. And what more to share it with you guys? You know, let's all share it all together. Come join us for the watch along. Ash might get some guests, might not. We're going to hopefully see. Fingers crossed. We're going to obviously try and get that for you guys. It'll be good to get some fighter opinions on these guys, of course, as well. He's working. Don't worry, guys. He's working. You know, he's putting the messages out there. Getting fighters to reply, of course, is a problem as well. Prince of Mischief says the problem is they're going to use Till to build prospects, and if he's losing to them, it's just going to push him further. Yep. JK Nice Man says, James and May, thank you, my man. Darren says, but Darren's needs to hurry up, and I disagree with the time off. Get back there as soon as possible. Okay. Interesting scoop from Damo. It's different. Cheers, JK. Top stream. Catch you soon, mate. Thank you, Shango, for tuning in. As always, hopefully see you soon on the watch along. James will say doing good things here. Mate, James, got to join us for those watch alongs, man. It'd be good to see you in the watch alongs. You know, because it's again like this. Fan opinions matter most. And, you know, it's like a Gogglebox. If you've seen Gogglebox over here in the UK, you know, we'll all break the fights down. We'll have guests on, and we'll try our best to get guests on, things like that. So, yeah, do stick tuned, of course. Make sure you hit the notifications bell on the channel, because that's important as well, so you know when we're going to go live. Because we can have a guest. We could have Q&A at any point as well. You know, it could be a quick turnaround. Who knows? Lots to come. Well done, JK, for keeping your cool when little want to act up. Well, I mean, I'm always as cool as a cucumber, my man. I mean, look, like I said, everyone's entitled to their fan opinions, okay? You know, I will say that if I disagree or not, you know, of course, I'm not going to completely go off on you unless you completely go off on me and you start calling me a casual and things like that, then I'm going to go off on you. But, you know, I try and keep my cool as best as possible. I will get some fighters, says Ash. There you go. There's the words himself. Ashman's on it for you guys. Don't worry. ALX113, welcome in, brother. Hope you've enjoyed the stream. Pop a like on the video, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. Guys, we'll see you this weekend. I'm JK. Thanks for joining in. Peace out. Stay sexy, and we'll see you this weekend.